Good afternoon, grade 7s, and welcome back to another bumper episode with Mascu Miller Learning and Mascu TV. Today's topic is data handling, and I know we have spoken about data handling the last time, but that time we did more data interpretation, right? We linked it to real life examples. Today is something slightly different, and today's focus point will be on measures of central tendency and range. Now I know that these concepts, it is new to you. Most of you haven't heard of it before, but don't worry, in this lesson, we will make a lot of sense of it. So at the end of this lesson, we need to define the terms I just mentioned, right? So we need to define what the mean, the median, the mode, and the range is all about. We need to organize data in the ascending order, right? To determine the median and the range correctly. So again, it is very important for us to understand ascending before we can determine the median and the range correctly. And then besides defining the mean, median, and the mode and range, we need to calculate the mean, median, mode, and range from a given set of numerical data. So when you see numerical data, it is telling us that it's data that encompasses numbers, right? Not letters, not words, but rather numbers, okay? So what is measures of central tendency all about? We use it to describe the middle value of a data set, right? And there are three that we'll be focusing on today. The three are the mean, the median, and the mode. So let's start with number one, which is the mean. What is the mean? Another word for mean is also the average. Now some of you heard this word before, average, but maybe you don't fully understand what it is all about. So let's see what it is. How do we find the mean? How do we find the average, right? It is calculated by adding all the data values together and dividing it by the total amount of numbers there are in the data set. So for example, let's say we are 10 grade 7s in a class, and some of us are 13, and some of us are 12. And then what we do is we add everyone's ages up together. So 13 plus 12 plus 13 plus 12 plus 11 plus 12, all 10 of us. And we take that total we found and we divide it by how many students there are in the class. So if there are 10 students, we divide that total by 10. If there are 5 students, we divide the total by 5. Another example can be, let's say I wrote a test on English today, and there's just 5 students in the class, right? And for me to find out what the mean is or what the average is, all I just need to add everything together and divide it by how many there is. So let's say, for example, let's say we wrote the English test today, right? So let's say there are 5 students, right? So if there are 5 students and I had an English mark out of 20, right? So I had an English test written out of 20. And let's say these are the marks out of 20. So I have 14 for the one student, 19 for the other student, 15, 10, and then let's make it 20. You see? So student A got 14, student B got 19, student C 15, student D 10, and student E 20. So to find out the average mark that the class got for English, all I must do is I just need to add all these numbers together, and I must divide it by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right? We're going to get into examples of that. This is just to give you an idea of what the average is all about. All right? Let's see what else there is. The next one is the median, right? The median of a data set is the middle value, right? Emphasis here on middle. It is the middle value of the ordered. So you can see ordered is in bold data set, right? To find the median, right, or the middle value, as stated there, of a data set that is not ordered, you must first order the data set, meaning you must arrange all the values of the data set in ascending order. You can also arrange it in descending order. It doesn't actually matter. But we advise you to use ascending order because sometimes there are negative numbers and we don't want negative numbers. So it's always better to put it in ascending order. And what is ascending? It is from the smallest to the biggest. If we think about something ascending, right? We're starting at the bottom and we are going upwards. If we think about descending, if we think about the rain that descend upon us, it's coming from the top all the way down, right? So if we look at this data set here, for example, here we have 10, 11, 13, 15, 16, 23, 26. And if I were to find the median or the middle number, what's the first thing I must check for? I must check if this data set is ordered, if it's in ascending order. And I can see here, luckily for me, this one is in ascending order. So it is from the smallest to the biggest. A lot of the time in the tests or in the exams, they do not give it to us in ascending order. So my first task I need to do is to put the data in ascending order, and then I can find the middle term. So now that this data here is in ascending order, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 numbers in the data set. But I'm going to come back to this. Note the following. Note the following, students. Okay, there we go. If there is an odd number of values in the data set, the median is the middle value. Again, what is odd? 3, 5, 7, 11, 15, right? If there is an even number of values in the data set, the median is the average of the two middle values. So what is average? We just add and divide by how many there are. The average of the two middle values, meaning I must add the two middle values and divide it by 2. Let's go back here quickly. So here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 is an odd number or uneven. And because there's an odd number, I can just identify the middle term easily, right? It is obviously 15 because I have 3 numbers on the left and 3 numbers on the right. So it's easy to identify my median in that case. Let's say, so I'm going to rewrite this information here. So I have 10, I have 11, 13, 15, 16, 23, and 26. So again, my middle term is 15 because I have an odd data set. Let's say I had the number 10 here. Let's say I had the number 10. Let's count how many numbers I now have in my data set. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I have an uneven amount of numbers in my data set, right? Sorry, I have an even amount of numbers in my data set. And look what it says here. If I have an even number of values, the median is the average of the middle two values, right? So I want you to look at this data set over here, and I want you to identify my middle two numbers. And yes, my middle two numbers is indeed 13 and 15 because I have 3 numbers on the left and I have 3 numbers on the right. So hence why 13 and 15 are my two middle numbers. But the two middle numbers isn't my median, nor is the sum of my two middle numbers the median. What is the median? It is the average of the middle two. So what do I need to do? I need to add these two numbers up together. So I need to say 13 plus 15. And this I divide by 2. Okay? So 13 plus 15 is 28. And 28 divided by 2 is what? 14. So if I were to have an even amount of numbers in my data set, I will take the middle two and find the average. Can you see? Listen to the terminology that I'm using. New words we're learning, and we try to apply them when we are doing the problems. All right. So we've learned mean, which is average, and we've learned median. What is next? Mode. Right. What is the mode? The mode of a data set is the value or the values that appear most often in a data set. Right. So it appears more than any other number. Right. So if I were to have a random data set, 6, 8, 4, 3, 7, 6. There's a random data set of numbers, but now I want to ask the question, what number is appearing most often? One more than the other, or two more than the other? Yes, it is the number 6, right? So that is why in this particular data set over here, 6 will be my mode. But note the following. A data set can have one mode, or 2 modes, or even no modes. So if I were to erase this 6 over here, now I can see there's not any number that's appearing more than once. So the question can still ask, determine what the mode is. But because there's no number appearing more than one time, my answer will just be there is no mode. All right? It said that there can be one mode. So if I add the number 6 here, if I add the number 6, can you see there I have one mode? And then I can also have 8 over there. What do I notice? I notice that the number 6 and the number 8 is now appearing more than the others. So in this case, my mode will be 6 and 8. So your answer will be written as the mode is 6 and 8. I could have this. I could have 4. So now 6, 8, and 4 is appearing twice. And 4 and 3 is appearing once. Sorry? And 3 and 7 is appearing once. So your mode in this case is now 6, 8, and 4. So don't be ticked. There don't have to be a mode, even though the question asks the mode. There doesn't only have to be one mode. There can be more than one mode as well. All right? So if you look at this one over here, the example, which value shows up the most in the data set, right? And we can see here, with this data set over here, we have the number 11 that is occurring on 3 occasions, and hence why my mode in this case is 11. So note the following. A data set can have one mode, two mode, or no modes. If a data set has 2 modes, we say that it is bimodal, right? And I've just shown you that over there. Right, lastly, the last definition I have to know for now is a range. And the range of a data set is the difference between the largest and the smallest values in a data set. The bigger the range, the further the values in a data set are spread apart. The data set has to be in ascending order before I can find the range. So very simply put, the range is simply the difference between the biggest number and the smallest number. So it's saying there, so it's basically biggest minus smallest. So again, I'm going to give you a random data set again. Let's take 10, 13, 4, 60, 100. And I need to find my range. What did I do? The difference, we know difference means subtract between what? The biggest or the largest number and the smallest value. So my biggest number here is 100. My smallest number here is 4. And 100 minus 4 is what? 96. So my range is just what? 96. Very simple, right? The difference between the greatest and the smallest, or the largest and the smallest, or the biggest and the smallest, whatever way you understand it, all right? So what would the range be over here? It would just be 100 minus 1, which is 99. So before we go into an example, which I want you to look at, we're going to go into a very short break. Please stay tuned. Welcome back, grade 7s. We took some time to look at the example, and the example is asking us everything that we need to know. It is asking us the mean, the median, the mode, and the range. All right, so let's get into it. The example given is a scenario as follows. It says there that Anne completed 9 math tests in a year, and she achieved the following results. And there's the results given. And they're asking us to calculate the following. The first one is asking us to calculate the mean. Okay? So what do I understand by mean? Or let me first ask, what's another word for mean? It is the average. And my understanding of the average is I need to add all the numbers in the data set, and I must then divide it by the amount of numbers that there are in the data set. Right? So let's answer A. So what do I need to do for the mean? Now please note, for the mean, I don't have to order my data. I don't have to put it in ascending order. That applies to the median and to the range. So for now, let me add all the numbers and divide it by how many numbers there are. So I'm going to start with 52. So I'm going to go 52 plus 65 plus 63 plus 76 plus 68 plus 70 plus 58 plus 77. So those are all the values in my data set, and this I will divide by how many numbers there are in my data set. Let's count how many numbers there are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay? Okay, so I think I might have just missed a 63 here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So yes, I missed 163. All right? So let us add that 63 in there. Let us just do that. So I have plus 63. There we go. So let's count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let me see if it corresponds with what I have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So I know I'm correct, okay? You're doing this with me. If you pick up that I missed one number, just comment in the comment section. Teacher Abdul, you missed the number. Please add it, right? And this I will divide by 9, right? We are very familiar with addition. So if we add all these numbers up, we can see we get the solution to be 592, right? 592, not 529, 592. And we're going to divide that by how many numbers there are. There are 9 numbers, okay? And there are many methods that you can use, right, to do division, right? There's many methods of division. The most popular one is long division. We have covered long division. You've covered long division, right? So if you work that out, you will get your answer to be 65,8, okay? So the average mark, right? The average mark for 9 tests that Anne has done is 65,8, okay? That is the mean or the average. Remember, it is one of the same thing. B, the mode. What do we know about mode? It is the number that is occurring most frequently. It is occurring more than all the other numbers. So I want you to look at this and tell me which number is occurring most frequently, right? The answer there is 63, because 63 is appearing twice. There's a 63 and there I have a 63. But every other number is just occurring one time. So for B, so I can say here that the mode is 63. There we go. C is the median. Right now, very, very important to understand. What did we say about the median and about the range? We first need to order our data. It must first be in the ascending order. So from smallest to biggest, okay? So I take the smaller number first, and then I put it in the order. So what I will do is, I'm going to write my information here. So I will have 52, 65, 63, 76, 68, 63, 70, 58, and then 77, right? So I'm going to order my data nicely over here, so I know I didn't miss anything, all right? So let's do that. Okay, so my smallest number would be what? 52, right? And thereafter, I'm still in my 50s, it will be 58. right? Now I can go to my 60s, so there's a 63 there, and there's another 63, so I'm going to scratch that 63 out. I then have a 65, I then have a 68, I then have a 70, I have a 76, and then a 77. I have a 76, and then a 77. Let's count if I have 9 numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, very useful to do this, all right? So I know I have an odd amount of numbers in my data set, so it's very easy to identify my median, all right? So my median would just be what? Remember, if I count 4 numbers here and I count 4 numbers there, I can see I have 65 in the middle, right? So my median here is what? 65. And it was easy to see my median because I have an odd amount of numbers in my data set. If it was even, I would then take the average of the middle two to find the median. And then lastly, the range, and my data is already in ascending order, so my range would simply be 77 minus 52, and that would give me an amount of 25. All right, so my range is 25. It is the biggest number minus the smallest number, okay? Let us look at an example, an activity for us, all right? Sometimes they don't always ask us the questions in the same manner. Here we're given the information in a table, and from the table, they're asking us to answer the questions. But let's first see what the context of the question is, right? It says here that 5 friends are comparing the percentages that they obtained for the tests that they have written so far this term. The table below shows the percentages, right? So we have 5 students over here, and there are the percentages for all these subjects, right? So let's see what the question by A is asking us. It is asking us, what is Lungi's average for the 5 tests, right? So let's see where's Lungi. Here's Lungi. So this is English, math, science, technology, and geography. We can see Lungi loves maths because he gets 92% for math, right? And we want this average, right? What is the average? We're adding everything together, and we are dividing it by how many there are. So let us find Lungi's average. So I'm going to add everything together. So it is 47 plus 92 plus 59 plus 77 plus 95. And then we need to divide this by how many numbers there are. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if we add 47, 92, 59, 77, 95, right, we should come to a value of 370. And we will divide that by the number 5, okay? And you can use any method of your choice to find the answer, but 370 divided by 5 should give us an answer of 74, okay? That was the average for the 5 tests of Lungi. So if you look, he has a 40 in between there, he has a 50 in between there, he has a 70, but he also has 2 90s. So if we average all those marks out, we get to an answer of 74, okay? Right, let's see what B is asking. B is asking, what is the modal percentage for technology? So now I'm only interested in technology, right? I'm not interested in the other 4 subjects. What is mode again? The modal is the most occurring number. So what number is occurring most frequently for technology? Yes, it is the number 77, because 93, 70, and 80 is only appearing once or occurring once. 77 is occurring twice. So the mode, so we can say that the modal percentage is equal to 77%, okay, or 77. All right, that was quite straightforward. Then C, what is the range of all these percentages? So now we're looking at all the percentages together, right? So what is the range? It is a difference between the biggest and the smallest number, right? So my range would be straightforward. So now I'm looking at They're saying for all the percentages. So I need to look for the biggest number out of everything over here. What's the biggest number here? It is what? 95, right? So 95 is the biggest number. So I say, and write it out, write the biggest number minus the smallest number. It does count for a mark. Minus, let's find out what the smallest number is over here. That shouldn't be very difficult to see. Not mistaken, it is the number 44. 44 is the lowest number. And this will give me an answer of 51. Okay, so my range is 51. I'm taking the biggest number, minusing the smallest number, and my answer is 51. Let's look at the last question. The last question, it says there, if James wants to impress his parents, should he use the mean, the median, or the mode of his percentages? Show all calculations. So if he wants to impress his parents, obviously he wants to showcase a number that is the highest, that is the biggest, right? But they're asking whether you should use the median, the mode, or the mean. And they're telling us here, show all calculations. So they're actually encouraging us, or they're asking us to calculate the mean, to calculate the median, and to calculate the mode. And from there, we must see which one is the highest. And that will be the most suitable option for him to use if he wants to impress his parents. Okay? So, let's see. The first thing we need to do is to find the mean. So we need to find the mean for James's marks over here. Right? So, I'm going to start with the mean. So the mean for James would be 67 plus 74 plus 67 plus 77 plus 75, and that is all over 5, and that gives me a total of 360 divided by 5, and 360 divided by 5 should give me 72. Okay, so for mean, we have 72. Let's see what the others gives us. Right now, I want to use the median. Okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to put that in color so I can come back to it. So now I want to work with the median. And I know what's very important with the median is that my data needs to be ordered, right? It must be in ascending order. Smallest numbers first, bigger numbers to follow. Right, so the smallest number here would be 67. So I put 67 down. And then I have another 67. And then I have a 74. I have a 75. And I have a 77. Right? This is an odd number. So obviously my middle number is easy to find. Right? Which is 74. So my median is therefore 74. Already, median takes preference over the mean. But let us find the last one and see which one we can use. What is the last one they're asking for? Is the mode. What do we know about the mode? It is the number that is occurring most frequently. And if I see over here, the most frequent number occurring for James's 5 marks is the number 67. So the mode is 67. So if you want to impress his parents, you want to choose the one that gives him the highest number. So for my mean, I got 72. For the median, I got 74. For the mode, I got 67. And between the three numbers over here, it is very obvious that my median is the biggest number. And that is why I can say, therefore, James would use the median. That is simply because the median gives us 74. I wish I could continue, but unfortunately we've run out of time. But you can go to page number 296 in your Spot On Maths book, exercise 24.4. There's another beautiful example of some degrees that's given in the different cities, and they're asking you to arrange it in ascending order to calculate the mean, the mode, the median, as well as the range. Again, it is testing everything you need to know in the topic we have just done. Grade 7s, I hope that you have enjoyed the lesson. I hope that you have learned about measures of central tendency and about the range. Please, if you have any questions, I urge you, comment, like, subscribe to Maskey TV, or you could ask the questions on WhatsApp with the number 072 091 0388. Grade 7s, thank you for listening. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for taking note, and I'll see you next week. Goodbye.
And now we enter our next exciting chapter with the launch of Maskiverse, an inspiring trio of innovations, our AI-powered learning companion, captivating TV content, and a vibrant playground for interactive learning, and our own dedicated app, all coming together beautifully to deliver learning outcomes through technology.